Hello everyone, and welcome to another royal reading here at MadWorldTarot. It's a glorious Saturday afternoon as I am doing this reading. It's the day that the French and the world, we are all celebrating the coming back to life, the resurrection of Notre Dame in Paris. And many world leaders have been invited to celebrate with the French. And I'm actually feeling quite emotional as I say that, surprisingly. And they include Prince William, who has been invited. He's deputizing for the King. And People magazine, of all magazines, because we know they're very pro-Parkle, People magazine says Prince William steps up a statesman role to represent King Charles at the reopening of Notre Dame. And then it goes on to name the many of the world leaders who will be there in Paris with him. It also tells us that he will be holding meetings, personal private meetings with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. That's before the ceremony itself. And then it goes on, this article in People magazine goes on to list some of the world leaders that Prince William has already met. And it's quite a list. I won't go and read it all, but it includes European leaders, American, North American leaders, African, Middle Eastern leaders, Asian leaders. He's been slowly but surely building up quite a portfolio as statesman. And of course, the younger brother, Harry, did his little stint in New York in mid-September trying to portray himself as a statesman. It didn't go very well. It didn't gain much notice or attention. He looked quite bashful and quite out of place at some of the meetings in New York when he was faced with real royalty and real dignitaries and real politicians and real humanitarians. That's my opinion, of course. But it's interesting to me, particularly this meeting with Trump, what might be discussed at that meeting in particular, and how might Harry be feeling about the fact that Big Brother, who one day is going to be king, is meeting the man who is very soon going to be president of the United States and holds Harry's fate in his hands. They both hold Harry's fate in their hands, more or less. So, a little reading, and I have the Gilded Tarot on the tarot table for this one. Forgot to tell you after I butchered that article. Gilded Tarot from People magazine. We're going to do a little look. We're going to ask how Prince William is going as statesman. What's that about? How Harry feels about what his brother is up to. The meeting with Trump, what's going to be discussed, and how Harry feels about that. Trump, how he feels about the two brothers, the two princes. And then outcome for Harry and William and Harry in their roles in the world on the global stage. How are they going to go ultimately? So that's what we're looking at today. It's Prince William's had a busy few days. He was in London at the recording of the carol service with Catherine, and then has had to dash across to France for this event, and of course big meetings with the incoming president and the outgoing first lady. So let's remind you, it's tarot, it's for fun and entertainment, it's all my opinion, it is all speculation, and I just read energy here, and there is a disclaimer in the box below. And let's get to it, see what the cards want to tell us today about two brothers. One, I think, quite a reluctant figure on the global stage. One, desperate for attention, Mummy Diana. We've got the Six of Swords in reverse, which is, it's the international card, the Six of Swords, which is interesting. And the overseas card. I always say overseas, bearing in mind how the he wasn't even crowned at that stage, King Charles, on day one, wished Harry and Meghan well in their lives overseas. And that's why for me the overseas card, when it shows up, is always very significant. Somebody set off to make his fortune overseas. Six of Swords, putting your troubles behind you, brave new adventures, new visions and all that, but didn't go so well. And so far his attempts to portray himself as a powerful international figure haven't gone so well either, which is why that card is in reverse. So I think we've got the reluctant one on the global stage and the overeager one who's failing on the global stage. I think they're both in that energy for me as a tarot reader. Situation we're dealing with, and my hoopoe is back in the garden. Just catching a glimpse of it, always special when I see the hoopoe in the garden. Nine of Pentacles in reverse. This is the Independence card, and again it's telling me that somebody set off overseas, so somebody would be Harry, to make his fortune, to be independent, to be the roving royal with his own independent royal court, lots of money. That was the goal. Get all the money from Netflix and Spotify and Better Up and Penguin Random House and whoever else they've tried to get money out of. They have got money out of them, possibly not as much as they'd like us to believe. It's in reverse. Failed at setting up a rival court, at going it alone, at being the roving royal. In my opinion, the rogue royal. But so far, failure and failure as our underlying energy and as our situation. So let's look at Prince William and this statesman thing, stepping up his statesman role and representing the king, which he's been doing now for quite a lot. We've got the Three of Cups and it's in reverse. It's an interesting energy. The thing that comes very powerfully to my mind is being in a work situation where you've been mates with everybody, you're all at the same level, and you all bitch about the same things together, and in the tea room or wherever, and then suddenly someone gets promoted. And that ends that whole thing right there. The dynamic just changes. The Three of Cups is about friends. And it's gone into reverse. So for Prince William, he's lost something in this new role where he's got to elevate himself and he's viewed differently. He's viewed with more respect. He's got to behave with more authority, more dignity. Quite difficult for him to let his hair down, go mad. It's possibly why he went off to Spain for a hunting holiday. Anyway, we'll park our thoughts about that somewhere else. But difficult because some of these people as well that he's now meeting at a state level representing Great Britain, United Kingdom in fact, he might have viewed as friends before, and now he's got to behave in a certain way and represent himself and his country in a certain way. And so he's finding it difficult. He's a water sign. Water signs, very intuitive, very emotional, get emotionally connected with people. And then suddenly he's got to break that and he's got to represent himself as something else. So that's the feeling that's coming through for me about Prince William. How does Harry feel about this? I'm sure he's read this People magazine article and has his own thoughts and feelings about seeing his brother on the global stage and all these names that have been listed. Harry's struggling to actually get one-on-ones with people he used to be able to meet quite easily. For instance, Joe Biden has very carefully avoided him in recent times. The Clintons have as well. He's been on the same programs as them, but we haven't seen them together. There haven't been one-on-ones. So how's Harry feeling about this? The Moon. The Moon is your projection card. It's your subconscious that projects. It's all the nasty things. And I'm sorry to say this, but it's not surprising. All of the stuff that we're dealing with now really seems to come, and this is my armchair psychology, my personal opinion, seems to come from very basic sibling rivalry. The Moon. And yeah, it's one of the more hurtful dynamics that can happen in a family, actually, if you've ever been on the receiving end of it. It's a very difficult energy to unpack and to know how to navigate. And there is the Moon. The Moon, as I say, it's projecting things you might not be consciously aware of. So jealousy, envy, rivalry, distrust, all of that stuff. And of course, who's in that card but the moon, Diana, Mummy Diana. It's there. It's very powerful. These are such powerful forces. Harry isn't in control of these forces. For me, as an energy reader, these subconscious forces that drive him without him being aware of it. This is the person who's over-therapized, is that a word, to the point of absurdity, but doesn't realize this basic fact about himself. That's my very personal and inexpert opinion. So let's look at this Trump situation. What are Prince William and Donald Trump going to be talking about? That might possibly have to do with Harry. What are they going to be talking about? I know exactly what that card means, in my opinion. The Eight of Swords. That's somebody who's in a trap. And the bait in that trap. And I don't think I've ever, in fact, read the Eight of Swords as having bait in a trap. The bait in that trap. We all know who that is. There she is. There she is. I don't need to give her a name even. I'm sure you can figure out who I mean from the artwork of that card. And I had to say, I had to hold my hand over my tarot decks and wait for the energy to speak to me. Normally I'm pretty sure which tarot deck wants to be used. This one had to have a moment to come through, and that is why we're using the Gilded Tarot today. The Gilded Tarot Royale, it says on the box. Eight of Swords, a trap. And so I think we need go no further with discussing that card. I think it says everything that we need to know about it and what Donald Trump and Prince William will allegedly be discussing. How does Harry feel about this meeting? As I say, they hold his fate in their hands. Oh, Ten of Swords. This is savage energy. The Ten of Swords is the ruin and the downfall, the dark night of the soul, abject misery, failure, destruction, betrayal. Those swords stabbing into his back. He can't believe that the two people he probably right now hates the most on this earth. And I say that advisedly. That's my opinion. Of course, he might really love both of them. Cough, cough. But in my opinion, the two people who really trigger him the most are meeting and, in my opinion, again, very likely discussing him and how he got himself in the predicament he is now in. He can't bear it. Cannot bear it. He's probably weeping somewhere, as allegedly he does from time to time. Neil Sean is the one who mostly tells us this, that Harry was sobbing, apparently was sobbing over the fact that the king had invited David Beckham and Posh along to Buckingham Palace for a state banquet, and he and Meghan, I don't think, ever went to a state banquet. I wonder why. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to Donald Trump now, just for fun. We're going to ask what Donald Trump thinks of Prince William and Prince Harry. So what does he think of Prince William right now? And we got the Four of Swords. This is a person who really needs time out to rest and heal and recover and get himself to himself, but can't do that. He's had to force himself out into the public eye when he least wants to, when he has all kinds of very traumatic things to be dealing with on the home front, the country front. The country is in disarray, and his personal life is in disarray because of illness. His wife, his father, his stepmother, who else? Someone else that I'm missing. There is someone else. Can't think. And then, of course, the troubled brother, the brat. Lady Gabriella. Lady Gabriella, lest we forget her, who was at the Christmas concert. And all those troubles, any mere mortal would take 6 months family leave, and William can't. So Donald Trump sees it. I think I've got a very similar energy before when I've asked the same question in a different context. So how does he view Prince Harry? While we're talking about Harry, and possibly the two men are talking about Harry, Queen of Cups in reverse, fixated on Mummy Diana, Mummy Diana, Mummy Diana. There she is again. The Queen of Cups is Mummy Diana. And will he ever get over this and stop whinging about it and stop claiming her legacy and thinking that he represents her and that his whole world was, his life was ruined by what happened there and everything subsequent to that. Yes, and of course he did suffer a tragedy, but you know what? I can't think of anyone who's gone through life without suffering some kind of tragedy at some point in their life. And so that's what Donald Trump thinks of that, in my opinion, and allegedly. Let's look at Prince William and Prince Harry now as they go on through their lives and live out their lives on the global stage. The influence, the way people are going to view them, their impact, whatever tarot wants to tell us, universe wants to tell us, up there wants to tell us. Prince William first, what's going to be the Ace of Swords, that's Excalibur. I do like to see that when I see it for him. And it's about truth, it's about justice, clarity, divine right even. You can read into that card. Somebody who's all about justice, truth, even the divine, peace, fairness, doing the right thing. It's such a profound energy. I'm getting extremely emotional as I talk about it. So we'll move on to energy that makes me emotional in other ways. This is very funny. Harry, we got the Ace of Wands in reverse. So we have two aces, and we have one that is truth and clarity and wisdom and integrity, and then we have one that's all about passion. It can be the libido, it can be about the drama and the attention seeking. It's in reverse. So this is somebody who thinks that they are charismatic and a leader and a visionary, who would like to represent themselves as that on the global stage. How different they are, and it's shown so vividly. I've never seen their differences shown so clearly, and this is the beauty of tarot, is that can reveal things like this so absolutely spot on, in such a spot on way. Ace of Wands in reverse. He thinks he's all of those amazing things, but in fact he lacks leadership qualities. He lacks passion. He lacks the power to endure and follow through and to lead and to elevate and to guide and all of those wonderful things. It's in the reverse. It's about his ego, about his drama, about his own passions that overrule his judgment and his vision and his clarity. It's just really in reverse, consumed by that fire, that need to dominate and to shine, but actually underneath it, ice cold. And that is all I have to say about that. So that's the reading. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.